Babe, if you keep ending up as the almost girlfriend, the backup plan, the option, the texting buddy, the booty call queen, the one he likes but doesn't choose, the one he says, I just can't commit. It's not you. I just can't commit. That is not bad luck. That's called a pattern. And if you don't interrupt it, you will keep reliving it with different faces. So stay tuned if you want to learn how to break this for good. Hey everyone, my name is Kim Velez. I am a licensed trauma therapist and now turned transformation coach, where I had to figure out my own issues because I grew up in foster care, had abandonment wounds, and was picking versions of men who were unhealed, who wouldn't choose me. I was married, had boyfriends, all the things, but they were awful relationships because I didn't know my worth and value. And it wasn't until I started deep diving on this powerful work myself many years ago and started the entire self-concept in love movement that is all over TikTok and YouTube and everywhere now. This is the game changer. And I am going to show you what has worked for me and has also helped the thousands of women that have worked with me along the way since I figured all of this out. So real quick, before we get into it, if you're tired of constantly attracting versions of men who don't choose you, this is exactly why I created the mirror effect for. It helps you rewire the beliefs, identity, and energy that keep pulling in the crumbs, half-effort men, and the rejection loops. I'll tell you more about that later, but the link is below. I have it on special pricing right now, but it will not last long because people snatch up my stuff quick. So if you notice the background, I have moved out of state. I am no longer a Florida girl. I am now a Nashville girl. I'm in my new place. This is the office. Clearly, it's not done yet. I'm fixing up the whole house and it'll get done whenever it gets done. But I'm super excited to talk more about that because that was crazy. That was a whole God thing. And I definitely will share that in a different video. Okay. So let's look at this, right? I know because I used to live this way. I lived this way until I did the work that I'm going to share with you of what you need to do but most of you aren't going to do it. Most of you don't want to change. You want the person outside of you to change. And then you think wrongly and you think falsely that once they change and they choose you, then you'll feel good. Then everything will be great. And here's what I know about me going through this many years ago, as well as all the thousands of women that I've helped along the way. They pick the ones when they are chosen and they don't believe that they're good enough still. They reject it. And you will do the same. You're not different from them. Let's make that all clear. So many people as humans want to be like, we're so different from each other. No, we're not. We all have a desire to be loved. We have a desire for safety, and we have a desire to survive, right? Like we want good health, wealth, and love in our lives. These are why those are the top 3 topics that always sell everything, and why all of us, including myself, buy stuff on those things. So let's look at the pattern you're stuck in. Almost chosen, but never chosen. So you'll be the girl that they like and they'll text and they'll keep around, they'll breadcrumb, they'll tell you all the nice things when you're together, but they always have an excuse of giving you more. They won't give you more. They put up a wall with you. They will not allow you to get close. And they honestly don't even treat you like a girlfriend. You're just a texting buddy and you have sex with them. I mean, let's be real, right? So they see your value, but they won't commit. You're such a good person. You're really amazing. I'm just not ready for a relationship. Like, we've all been there and it's very painful, right? Especially when you're like, oh my gosh, here it comes again. It's a different guy, different face, same situation. So you get attention, but you don't get effort. And babe, so many of you confuse this. You think attention means love, devotion, commitment. No, it don't. Effort is not attention. Attention is not effort. Attention is just somebody paying you attention. Effort is somebody showing up and investing in you because they believe you're worth it. So you're chasing clarity instead of receiving love. A lot of women I have coached, they really struggle with this when they've calling in, whether it's somebody they have already been dealing with or someone new, they're getting what they want from the person. And the problem is let's just say it's been like, 3 months of dating and they're like, but he hasn't told me I'm his girlfriend yet. And I'm like, okay, well, is he seeing anyone else? Well, no, we've had the talk, like we're exclusive to each other. I'm like, okay, how often are you seeing him? Well, he calls me every day. I've met his friends. I've met his family. Like we're going out all the time, whatever, right? It's obviously a relationship. It's not a booty call. And they're hung up on, but he hasn't called me his girlfriend yet. Then they start creating the person to act different towards them because their faulty belief system in themselves says, without this confirmation right now, I don't know that this is what this is. And I'm going to dive deeper into that because I have seen it all working with thousands of you. And I went through this myself. So I know the hiccups and I understand what happens and what gets you stuck and how to get unstuck. So you get what you want and you stop living in these patterns that keep causing you pain. So all of this stuff isn't random, right? All these patterns are not random. It's literally your self-concept and your nervous system wiring. Your body is drawn to what matches your identity, not what you want. And so many of you don't get that. So many of you think, oh, if I'm obsessing and thinking about him, he'll change and I'll be okay. No, you won't, babe. One, you won't be able to see him differently long enough to actually get a solid new version of someone in and you having a different experience from them because you're not different. Nothing's changed with you. So let's logically, which when we're talking about this stuff, there really isn't logic involved, but for logic's sake, let's look at this. How does it even make sense if you don't know your worth and value and your self-concept says, I'm not good enough, and your nervous system is wired to expect rejection, live in fear, and live in not good enoughness, right? Waiting for that shoe to drop. But yet you think that the person that you're going to get a love life that is safe when you believe these things, like you're not even aligned to what you want. Like what you want is here and you're over here. You're not even on the same level. And you think, oh, I'm going to move down. I'm going to move the relationship, what I want down here to meet me. And then I'll get it. That's not how it works. You got to rise because you with a low self-concept who doesn't know her worth and value. Then what happens is what you want can't come down here because that's what you're living. You're living the relationship that's aligned with the version of you now, which says I'm not worthy of more, which is why you accept the breadcrumbs, the inconsistent men, being replaced, being deprioritized, relationships that fizzle before they can even really start, or they start headstrong and you're feeling amazing and he's showing up on point, and then all of a sudden it just goes the complete opposite. If this is your pattern, perk your ears up. You're not going to get what you want being the same you, babe. And that I'm not here to lie to you. I'm here to help you break your pattern so you can actually stop living in pain. So the pattern looks like this in you, right? You feel massive anxiety and insecurity when someone actually likes you. You don't trust it. You're like, what is wrong with them? I remember the first time my person that I was involved with way back when I started all of this self-concept and love stuff, when he told me he loved me and that he was in love with me, I could not accept it. Like I rejected it in my mind. I said, oh, he's joking. He kind of laughed. He wasn't serious. I could not accept him saying that to me because my self-concept hadn't aligned with a woman who's like, duh, of course he does. Like, why wouldn't he be in love with me? I'm so lovable. So this is what happens to you. The women that I work with, right? Their anxiety if someone that they want actually wants them back. They're like, it can't be. Like I have a beautiful client that I'm working with now that this is what she went through. She manifested a specific person back in and they had a long conversation and he told her, let's do this. Let's do another shot and round at this relationship. I'm ready to give you a chance. And she said, okay, but immediately she started questioning in her mind, well, is this just him moving on quickly? Is he really into me? Like, why is he accepting this so fast? Like, she could not accept. So the thoughts continued to spiral. She kept seeing herself through him as not good enough. And eventually he changed course. like several months later, he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not into you at all. And because she didn't believe, because when you don't believe you're good enough, you can't even fathom in your mind that the man that you want would actually think you're good enough to be with. You have chemistry with emotionally unavailable men. Now, I want to say this clear as day because so many people don't understand this. You won't understand this until you rewire your self-concept and nervous system to believe and know different things about you, and you have a new identity in your love life. You will no longer be attracted to traits of unhealthy versions of men when you are healed, babe. Okay? That doesn't mean that the safe men that you're picking now are boring and you have no chemistry. No, you will still have chemistry because you're not settling for anything. You're actually getting everything you want. But right now, subconsciously, you are drawn to the men that are hot messes because they have to match you. And I say that with love because been there, done that. And this is what we do. You are drawn to what is familiar, not what is safe for you. Your body doesn't care. Your body is like, whoa, we know this. We know this. We know this walking red flag. We know this is going to be a hot mess. Yes, let's go all in. Now, you're not thinking that. Clearly, you're not like, oh, this one is danger. I'm going to go for it. Well, some of you might be. Some of you are like, I already know he's a player. I already know he's this or that. But you know what? He'll magically change for me. And he doesn't. Why? Because you accepted someone that was offering you breadcrumbs, which says, my self-concept says, I'm not better. I don't believe I'm good enough for better. And then you wonder why you can't get what you want because you keep staying stuck in a version of you who doesn't believe she's actually worth getting more. So you stay even when you're an option. We've all been guilty of this, including myself, because any woman and man that has a low self-concept, you will stay with people when you're being treated as an option. That is the problem with low self-concept. You stay stuck and you justify and you come up with all the reasons. It's complicated. I'm busy. Look, he's busy. No, those are all lies people tell themselves to justify why they're staying in something that isn't what they want. This is called human nature, human 101. This is what we all do with everything, okay? You're over giving to prove your worth. So many women do this. So many women will find men, I know, and you'll like start mothering them. And it's not because you like want to infantilize them. It's you don't understand how to actually love someone as an adult in a healthy relationship because you've never been in one. So for you, nurturing love is like coddling and placating them or treating them as if they're a child in some way, emotionally. A lot of women will also overgive. Like you're over here acting like wifey and girlfriend with a guy you just met like 2 weeks ago. And here's the problem, because I used to be like that too. And I didn't even know I was doing it for so long because it's so subconscious. When you overgive, when you're pouring into someone else that you're not receiving hardly anything back, when it really starts to fizzle out and the guy's pulling away even more and more, this is what happens to you. No, if I could just get him back to where it was in the beginning. If I could just get him back to where we were the first 3 weeks when we were dating. If we can just get back to there, you can't let go of it because you've poured so much mental, emotional, physical, behavioral stuff into him and you got so little in return that it's almost like, no, I have to recoup a portion of what I gave. That's why it's harder to walk away from a version of someone who is not what you say you want. Because you overgave, you overpoured into them, you gave up more to them than even to yourself. So then you want that investment, you want that return of your investment. The pattern also looks like that you keep experiencing heartbreak that feels familiar. Now think about this. I don't care. Like for me, I was married for 10 years. I've had relationships in commitments where he was my boyfriend. He claimed, he told everyone, right? Wanted me to move in with him. I mean, I've had it all. And this is with low self-concept. So it's not about you can't be in a relationship with low self-concept. People are in toxic relationships every day. Doesn't mean that's the relationship you want, right? It's understanding that whether it's a 10-year relationship or marriage, or it's a 5-year relationship, I don't care what it is. If you live with them, if you don't, if it's a series of 3-month relationships that don't even take off into a full commitment, whatever your personal pattern is, that heartbreak feels very familiar every time. So the good news is here, because I'm always bringing good news, is you can break this, and it's not going to take you decades. It's not going to take you several years. Okay. So this is what has to start shifting in order for you to break this pattern. And you can't date differently until you see yourself differently. So the 3 rewires I'm going to touch on in this video today is self-concept, obviously, right? I don't wait to be picked. I am the one. And you're not going to believe it. And this is the problem. You're mentally the mental diet's important to change your thinking. But what happens to most of you is that you won't even stick with it long enough to get it to reprogram in you until you've actually convinced yourself that this is who you are, because you feel so awful still. And you do not, as human beings, like negative emotions. So you could be affirming and thinking these new thoughts of, I don't wait to be picked, I am chosen. You'll have moments where you feel good. You're always seeking outside confirmation. You're constantly looking at the 3D. You're needing validation to confirm your worth and value still. You don't know you're good enough unless this man is in your life giving you the attention that you're perceiving. That means you're good enough. And you're saying the thoughts to yourself or out loud, but it's not changing, and you're not rewiring your nervous system. So your nervous system isn't learning safety in being chosen. It's still learning that we chase. It's still learning that we feel bad in love. It's still learning and reinforcing that you don't get what you want in love, and your association with love is pain, heartbreak, and not good, waiting for that shoe to drop. So you have to rewire your nervous system with the mental diet. And then it's also changing your state, moving into the version of you who, when she feels unworthy and not good enough, it's, well, what if I did feel worthy? What would that feel like? And shift yourself into that feeling state. Even if it's a second, if you can hold a state for a second, you can hold it for months and days and weeks. Okay. And this is not about doing it perfectly, because we're not wired. Thank goodness we don't have to do it perfectly. God did not wire us to do things perfect. So it's just about learning how you can be different. So this takes daily practice. This takes having awareness. This takes understanding, what are my patterns and what are my beliefs? The first thing you should do is write all the reasons why you don't have what you want in love. There's all the lies you tell yourself. And then you're going to write the opposite next to it. And then that's your new story if that's what you choose. But then you need to do nervous system rewiring, and you need to start changing your feeling state and move into, how does it feel to be loved, worthy, or relieved, or happy, or whatever it is you want. So this is what it takes. And a lot of you aren't going to do this, because a lot of you are still the version of you who believes wrongly and falsely, like I said in the beginning of the video. And this is going to trigger you. If this triggers you, listen, because this is giving you a clue that this is who you're being, and that's going to delay you from breaking out of this painful pattern. If this is triggering you, if you believe that the answer is him changing and that everything will be okay, you got a rude awakening, babe, because if he does change and he starts giving you what you want, you will not accept it. Guaranteed. I know what I'm talking about. I've seen it a million times. So if you're done being overlooked and you're ready to change the pattern at the root, get inside the Mirror Effect course. I teach you how your love life is literally mirroring your identity and how to rewire it so you finally start attracting men who choose you without begging, chasing, or convincing. You get instant access. The link is below. I love you all. I will see you in the next video.